But I am slowly seeing my life transform and change. I really am. And I'm seeing the lives of some of the people I work with transform and change. But before I jump into what I've kind of packaged together as that strategy to experience transformation, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. This is not something that happens overnight. Like, you can't do what I'm going to challenge you to do for a day or two and be like, oh, everything's better, everything's amazing, No. I mean, honestly, look at the world around us. Yes, a few people get fame or fortune overnight. There's a few people out there that become, like my son Josiah, a little TikTok famous, right? Literally on Friday night, I had a person message me. They messaged me and said, what's Josiah's TikTok handle? Because I hear he makes pure gold. Like, dead serious. So find my son, official Josiah Meyer, on TikTok. And I'm joking, he's not TikTok famous, but he does make some pure gold. You have to wade through some stuff to find the gold. But like I said, work is important, right? You got to work to get stuff. But some people do overnight become famous, true. But by and large, the people who we view as successful had to put in a lot of time and a lot of energy, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of work. But the question is, do you think you're worth it? I'm going to tell you, you already have the ability. You already have the gifts and the qualities that you need to become everything that God created you to be. He said the kingdom of God is at hand, meaning that one, the kingdom of God is in you, and two, the kingdom of God is accessible to you to become who it is that God created you to be, not just in eternity, right? I'm not talking about do this stuff right now so in heaven you can be who God created you to be. I'm talking about doing the work now so that you can reap the fruit of the work that you do now in embracing who it is you have become to be. So, where do we go? What do you do? How do you change things? Well, the same one who wrote these words here in 2 Corinthians also wrote some other words to impress upon us. The Apostle Paul wrote 2 Corinthians and wrote the book of Romans, and in Romans chapter 9, he tells us that if we would truly like to experience transformation, we need to first start with one thing, and that is renewing our minds. It is renewing our minds. And I'm going to put this in some very practical ways. Remember, we start off with the scientific data that our lives move in the directions of our most dominant thoughts, right? Our lives move in the direction of our most dominant thoughts. So what do we need to do to renew our mind? Well, I would suggest that Monday and every Monday, you write down what your perfect future looks like. What is your perfect future? And I mean, write down the nitty-gritty details. take the time to focus and write down what your perfect future would look like, what your house looks like, what your job looks like. I mean, you can even write down the nitty-gritty details of what your car looks like, what your relationships look like. And the reason we do this every Monday is what you will find over time is that you will be able to add more and more definition to what it is you believe your perfect future or your God-sized future looks like. You're going to do this on Mondays, and you're going to add to it, refine it, okay? And then we jump into daily tasks, right? We jump into the daily task of what? What's something that I ask everyone to do all the time? I get notifications on my phone every day. Sarah, what is it?
Gratitude.
That's right. Gratitude. Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King, for his love endures forever. I mean, seriously, every day, if you go through my text messages, if you are in relationship with me in a therapeutic or a heavy ministerial sense, if you're really trying to change your life, literally, you can just see, I even got new ones today. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I got one from Tim that says, miss you, brother. Next one, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. There's one. There's my daughter. Oh, yeah, it is. I don't know what that has to do with. Next one, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. Thank you for. Like, populated in the phone. And great. Know what's great? It's not just text messages. Now, what's crazy is you go over to my WhatsApp, and my WhatsApp, populated by pictures and thankfuls, says, I'm very well and thankful for, then thankfuls, then thankfuls. Huh, it's not just WhatsApp either. I got my messenger full of thankfuls because I will tell you, developing and cultivating an attitude of gratitude truly does change the chemistry of our minds. It moves us from being people that are stuck in anxiety and depression and allows us to recreate neural pathways to move in a more positive direction. So even when we face trials, even when we deal with tribulations, even when almost everything falls apart, we can keep our wits and our mind about us so that we can tackle those issues in what I like to call a more positive posture. So we have our perfect picture. We have our gratitude. Now I'm going to talk about a controversial one, because I will tell you the church has been angry about this kind of strategy. In fact, at times they've labeled it as toxic positivity. I'm not talking about that. But the third thing that I think you should do is not only embrace things like perfect futures and gratitude, but also embrace the idea of affirmation. Telling yourself that you are what you want to be. Now, I'm going to be really transparent. I don't like doing this. It's kind of uncomfortable. It is uncomfy. Here's my list. Like when I tell you you all should do this, I do this too. I exist to help people become everything they were created to be. That's my first affirmation. That's not so bad. I don't have to be embarrassed about that. I am blessed to be a blessing. People are blessed when they are with me and I partner with them. That one's not bad. Okay. I'm going to skip that one.
Yep.
I lead a large and thriving church. I lead a multiplying church network. Okay, here's the one. I am slim and I am sexy for my wife. That is one of my affirmations. Look, I am slim and sexy for my wife. So, I'll tell you, that one has been added in the past 2 weeks because one thing I am not right now is slim and sexy. So, but I want my life to move in those directions. I am replacing the negative story with the story that I want to embrace. And you're like, but Justin, that sounds weird. How can you find that in the Bible? That sounds just stupid. Is that some of that feel-good, hocus-pocus, marigamal, psychological babble crap? You know what Proverbs says? As a man thinketh, so he is. Proverbs 27. As a man thinketh, so he is. If we begin to change our minds and our thoughts about how we should see ourselves, our mind moves in that direction. Did you know that used to be, I'm slim and sexy, not for my wife. I just used to say, I'm slim and sexy. I used to say that before I met Sarah, and when Sarah found me, I was actually kind of slim and sexy. It's the one good thing I probably had going for me. So, besides I have a decent personality, right? She just said I'm a mess. So, well, I just need a new affirmation. I'm not a mess now. But so, we have these ideas of gratitude and affirmation. What comes next then? Practicing daily mindfulness. I'm not talking about spending 20 or 30 minutes on mindfulness. I'm talking about spending 5 or 10 minutes on mindfulness, allowing yourself to heal from trauma. Then write down your goals for the day. Write down what it is you want to accomplish, and then write down one thing that you want to do, one step you want to take that day to move towards your more perfect future. And then lastly, answer these questions. How did I experience love today? How did I show love today? And what might God be saying to me today? You may think it's crazy, but here's my journal. And it'll tell you the things that I am grateful for. It will tell you the things that I am working on. Give you like my project list. But folks, here at The Journey, we believe in helping people take that journey to becoming who it is that they've been created by God to be. But I will tell you, it's hard work. It is going to require, like if you really want to become something different, if you really want your life to change, you're going to have to be intentional about it. You're going to have to take time, literally every day, to work on yourself. But here's the thing. I think you're worth it. But I think a lot of us have embraced and engaged in a lie that we aren't worth it. But God has created you for a purpose. In fact, Ephesians tells us that you are God's handiwork. You are his fine craftsmanship, created for good works, meaning you were created with an intention. And when you embrace who it is you were created to be, I promise that's where you're going to find true joy. That's where you're going to find true contentment. That's where you're going to be able to wake up every day. And while the day may not be perfect, you will find happiness. Because you are engaging your purpose. And you will be changing the world. There's one other thing that people should engage in when following these steps. And I'm willing to do it for you, or you can find someone else to do it with. But that is, once a week, taking 30 minutes to check in, to see how you're doing, to be held accountable, and to be encouraged. Because as we embrace these things, we truly will become everything God has created us to be.